Some people go to the movies for entertainment. Others go looking for something to complain about. This is 50 times customers bought a ticket and demanded reality rewrite itself. These are the most ridiculous movie theater complaints ever recorded. 1. The movie was too dark. During a horror film set almost entirely at night, at a suburban multiplex in Ohio, a couple demanded a refund after watching a supernatural horror movie that takes place in abandoned houses with minimal lighting. They marched to the counter, insisting the projector was malfunctioning because we couldn't see anything half the time. Staff explained that the darkness was an intentional artistic choice to build suspense. The customers argued that film should be bright enough to see clearly at all times, regardless of genre. Other patrons who watched the same screening reported no technical issues. The projector was inspected anyway. It was working perfectly. The only thing malfunctioning was expectation management. 2. There were too many dinosaurs in a Jurassic Park sequel. At a theater in Florida, a man left a detailed complaint card stating that the latest dinosaur-themed blockbuster contained an excessive number of prehistoric creatures. He wrote that the plot should have focused more on human relationships and less on constant dinosaur chaos. When a manager gently pointed out that the franchise has always centered on dinosaurs, he doubled down and insisted the marketing should have been clearer. The posters featured dinosaurs. The trailer featured dinosaurs. The title included dinosaurs. He expected subtlety. He bought extinction-level content. 3. The 3D movie looked blurry without wearing the glasses. In a busy Los Angeles cinema, a customer demanded to speak with management because the animated 3D film appeared distorted and doubled on the screen. Staff asked whether he was wearing the complimentary 3D glasses provided at the entrance. He responded that he doesn't like wearing glasses and assumed the effect would work naturally. After being handed a pair and trying them on, he admitted the image was clear but complained about having to participate. The technology functioned exactly as designed. The complaint was about physics requiring cooperation. 4. Titanic should have had a happy ending. During a special anniversary screening in New York, a viewer approached the front desk visibly upset, requesting compensation because the film's ending was emotionally distressing and unnecessarily tragic. Staff reminded her that the movie is based on a historical event widely known for not ending well. She argued that filmmakers should consider audience feelings over history. The Titanic sank in 1912. The outcome has remained consistent since. She asked whether future showings could offer an alternate ending. The iceberg did not respond to customer feedback. 5. The theater should warn us that the movie is sad. At a Chicago cinema, parents complained after taking their children to an animated film clearly labeled as a drama about loss and family hardship. They claimed the trailer didn't fully prepare them for the emotional tone and demanded partial refunds because their kids cried during multiple scenes. The rating, synopsis, and genre were displayed online and at the ticket booth. The story delivered exactly what it advertised. The tears were not a malfunction. They were the point. 6. The movie was too loud. During an action film with explosions every 10 minutes. At a packed IMAX theater in Dallas, a man stormed out midway through a summer blockbuster filled with car chases, collapsing buildings, and non-stop gunfire. He demanded the volume be reduced immediately, claiming the sound system was aggressively violent. Staff checked decibel levels and confirmed they were calibrated to industry standards. The trailers, posters, and reviews all described the film as an explosive action spectacle. Other audience members reported no issues beyond normal blockbuster intensity. He purchased a ticket to a 2-hour demolition derby and was shocked to discover it included noise. 7. The popcorn had too many kernels. In a mall cinema outside Atlanta, a customer approached the concession counter with a half-eaten large popcorn bucket, insisting it was defective because too many unpopped kernels were included. Employees explained that some kernels are inevitable in any batch. She requested a full refund for inconsistent popping quality. When offered a replacement bucket, she inspected it like a laboratory sample before declaring the issue systemic. The popcorn machine works normally. Agriculture does not guarantee perfection. 8. I came 30 minutes late and didn't understand the plot. At a weekend screening in Phoenix, A couple arrived half an hour after the scheduled start time due to dinner running long. After the movie ended, they approached management upset that the story didn't make sense and key character motivations were confusing. Staff asked whether they had missed the opening scenes. They admitted they had, but insisted that films should be structured so late arrivals can catch up naturally. The projector cannot rewind for punctuality. Narrative arcs require beginnings. 9. There were too many subtitles. During a screening of an internationally acclaimed foreign-language drama in San Francisco, a viewer filed a complaint stating that the film contained an excessive amount of reading. He explained that he didn't expect to have to focus that hard during a movie and suggested future screenings provide a dubbed version automatically. The movie's listing clearly identified it as subtitled. The language was mentioned in bold on every promotional page. The complaint was not about translation. It was about literacy fatigue. 10. The actors didn't look like the trailer. At a multiplex in New Jersey, a customer requested a refund after watching a biographical film because the lead actor didn't resemble the real person enough. When staff pointed out that casting photos were publicly available months before release, he argued that the trailer's lighting made the resemblance appear stronger. He felt misled by cinematography. Makeup, lighting, and editing created the illusion he expected. Reality did not sign the same contract. 11. The movie had too many trailers and it wasted my life. At a busy Saturday night screening in Las Vegas, a man demanded a refund because the theater showed 20 minutes of previews before the main feature. He insisted the trailers were theft of personal time and claimed the cinema should compensate him for emotional inconvenience. Staff pointed out that preview blocks are standard across the industry and clearly listed in Showtime policies. He escalated the situation by loudly timing each trailer on his phone and announcing the minutes lost to nearby guests. Security eventually asked him to lower his voice or leave. He stayed. The trailers ended exactly on schedule. His outrage lasted longer. 12. My child was scared in a rated R horror film. In a suburban theater outside Denver, parents brought their 8-year-old to a graphic horror movie clearly rated R for violence and disturbing imagery. 20 minutes into the film, the child began crying uncontrollably. The parents stormed to the lobby demanding a refund because the movie was inappropriate for families. Staff calmly referenced the rating, the warnings, and the multiple advisory notices displayed before purchase. The parents argued the theater should have verbally stopped them at the door. Personal responsibility was not part of the refund request. 13. The screen was too big, and it hurt my eyes. At an IMAX theater in Chicago, a customer complained that the giant premium format screen was overwhelming and unnecessarily massive. He claimed the scale of the visuals caused discomfort and insisted the theater should offer a smaller viewing mode during IMAX showings. Staff explained that the large screen is the defining feature of the format. He replied that consumers should be allowed to customize screen size preferences. The building was not designed to fold in half on demand. He purchased maximum immersion and objected to immersion. 14. The credits were too long and no one important stayed. During a superhero blockbuster in Los Angeles, a viewer approached management after sitting through the entire 10-minute credit sequence expecting a hidden bonus scene. When none appeared, he accused the theater of false expectation management. Staff clarified that post-credit scenes are determined by studios, not cinemas. He insisted theaters should warn audiences whether bonus content exists to prevent wasted sitting. The credits listed hundreds of crew members who made the film possible. He was disappointed they did not perform for him personally. 15. The movie ended abruptly, and I wasn't emotionally ready. At an art house cinema in Portland, a patron demanded partial reimbursement after an indie drama concluded with an intentionally ambiguous ending. He claimed the film stopped instead of finished and accused the theater of projecting an incomplete version. Staff confirmed that the file played to its full runtime and that the open ending was deliberate. He argued that audiences deserve narrative closure as a service guarantee. The projector delivered the entire story. Closure was not included in the ticket price. 16. The theater should change the ending because I didn't like it. At a multiplex in Houston, a man demanded to speak with the general manager after a major superhero film killed off his favorite character. Visibly angry, He insisted the theater switch to an alternate ending because the death scene ruined his night. Staff explained that theaters do not possess alternate cuts of studio films, nor can they rewrite scripts mid-screening. He argued that digital projection should allow customizable outcomes for paying customers. When informed that no such version existed, he requested a refund for emotional damages. The film concluded exactly as released worldwide. His attachment did not override distribution contracts. 17. The movie was too political. I just wanted explosions. In a suburban Arizona cinema, a viewer stormed out of a war drama claiming it contained unexpected political themes. He insisted the marketing emphasized action and failed to warn him about moral dilemmas and historical context. Staff pointed out that the genre was clearly labeled as drama and biographical. He maintained that movies should stick to entertainment and leave ideas out of it. Other audience members remained seated, engaged in thoughtful silence. He purchased a story about war and objected to reflection. 18. Why is the popcorn so expensive? This is robbery. At a Manhattan theater, a customer loudly accused concession staff of financial exploitation after discovering the price of a large popcorn and soda combo. He compared the cost to grocery store pricing and declared the markup unethical. Employees explained overhead expenses, rent, licensing fees, and the fact that concession sales support theater operations. He purchased the combo anyway, continued complaining while eating it, and later left a negative review about capitalism. He understood the price before paying. He paid anyway. 19. There were too many foreign actors speaking English with accents. During a historical epic screening in Boston, a viewer complained that several actors portrayed international characters using noticeable accents. He argued that all English-language films should feature neutral speech to avoid distraction. Staff clarified that the story was set in multiple countries and the casting reflected that setting. He suggested studios redub actors for consistency. The global narrative remained intact. His preference for uniform pronunciation did not alter geography. 20. The movie was too long and I got tired. At a late-night premiere in Seattle, a man demanded a partial refund after a 3-hour fantasy epic, claiming the runtime was physically exhausting. Staff pointed out that the duration was clearly listed on every ticketing platform and printed on the stub. He argued that theaters should include intermissions automatically for comfort. Other patrons sat through the full runtime without incident. He purchased a marathon and complained about running it. 21. The theater was too cold, and it ruined my emotional experience. At a luxury cinema in Scottsdale, Arizona, a customer demanded compensation because the air conditioning made the auditorium emotionally uncomfortable. She claimed the cool temperature prevented her from fully connecting with the romantic drama she came to watch. Staff explained that climate settings are standardized to accommodate hundreds of guests and expensive projection equipment. She insisted the theater should provide individualized temperature zones or heated seating by default. Other patrons were comfortable. The thermostat did not respond to personal moods. 22. The movie spoiled history for me. During a historical war film screening in Philadelphia, a viewer complained that the ending revealed the losing side before he had time to emotionally prepare. Staff reminded him the outcome was a widely documented historical event taught in schools for decades. He argued that films should avoid predictable conclusions, even when based on real battles. The war's outcome did not adjust for narrative suspense. History does not include spoiler alerts. 23. The baby next to me was crying, and that's your fault. At a packed Saturday showing in Orlando, a man demanded a refund because an infant in the row behind him cried intermittently during a family-friendly animated film. He insisted the theater should screen audience members for noise potential before entry. Staff explained that the movie was rated for general audiences and that occasional disturbances are unavoidable in public spaces. He suggested implementing a no-baby policy across all screenings. The auditorium was a shared environment. Silence was not part of the package. 24. Why didn't the hero use logic instead of drama? At an art house cinema in Portland, a patron filed a written complaint criticizing a character's emotional decisions during a psychological thriller. He argued that the protagonist should have made smarter choices, and that the script was flawed because people in real life would act more rationally. Staff reminded him that flawed decision-making drives narrative tension. He suggested the theater curate films featuring only reasonable behavior. Fiction relies on conflict. Rational spreadsheets rarely sell tickets. 25. The seats didn't recline far enough for my personal standard. Inside a premium format theater in Dallas, a customer approached management mid-film to complain that the reclining leather seats did not extend to his preferred angle. He insisted the feature was marketed as luxury and therefore should accommodate his exact comfort expectations. Staff adjusted the mechanism and confirmed it functioned within manufacturer limits. He requested a refund for incomplete relaxation. The chair operated correctly. His spine expected first-class airline service at blockbuster pricing. 26. The theater should pause the movie because I missed a scene. At a busy evening screening in suburban New Jersey, a late-arriving customer demanded that staff pause the film because he had stepped out to refill his soda and missed a key plot twist. He insisted that since he paid full price, the theater should rewind the scene for his personal clarity. Management calmly explains that films run on a fixed schedule for hundreds of attendees and cannot be paused for individual convenience. He argued that streaming services allow rewinding, and theaters should modernize. The audience continued watching uninterrupted. Cinemas are not personal remotes. 27. There were too many superheroes in this superhero movie. During a packed premiere in Los Angeles, a viewer complained that the ensemble cast featured too many capes at once, making it difficult to emotionally focus on one character. Staff reminded him the marketing emphasized a multi-hero crossover event for months. He insisted the studio should limit the number of powered individuals per film to avoid overstimulation. The ticket purchased explicitly advertised maximum spectacle. He ordered excess and objected to abundance. 28. The plot was unrealistic for a fantasy movie. At a midnight showing in Seattle, a patron filed a complaint stating that dragons, magical spells, and teleportation devices were scientifically improbable. Staff gently pointed out that the film was categorized as high fantasy. He responded that fiction should still adhere to basic realism standards. The entire premise involved sorcery and mythical kingdoms. He accepted flying reptiles, but drew the line at narrative creativity. 29. The trailer made me laugh. The full movie made me think. In downtown Chicago, a customer claimed false advertising because a comedy drama contained emotional scenes beyond what the trailer highlighted. He stated that he expected uninterrupted jokes and was unprepared for reflection. Staff explained that trailers often condense tone for marketing purposes, but genre and reviews clearly indicated mixed elements. He requested a refund for unexpected depth. The movie delivered complexity. He wanted punchlines only. 30. The theater should guarantee a perfect audience. At a Friday night screening in Atlanta, a man approached management with a typed list of grievances. Someone coughed twice. Another patron checked a phone briefly, and a soda cup fell in the back row. He demanded partial reimbursement because the environment was not perfectly controlled. Staff explained that public venues cannot eliminate all minor human noise. He suggested installing behavioral contracts at entry. The movie played smoothly. Humanity remained unscripted. 31. The colors were too dark, and it affected my mood. At a high-end cinema in San Francisco, a patron filed a formal complaint stating that the color grading of a neo-noir thriller was emotionally oppressive. He claimed the dark blues and muted tones negatively impacted his psychological well-being and insisted the theater adjust brightness and saturation for future screenings. Staff explained that visual tone is determined by filmmakers and cannot be modified without altering the artistic integrity of the film. He suggested offering alternative visual modes similar to smartphone settings. The projector displayed exactly what the director intended. His mood was not part of the calibration settings. 32. The actors swore too much, and it offended my ears. At a late-night screening in Houston, a viewer demanded a refund because a crime drama contained frequent profanity. He admitted he did not check the rating or content warnings before purchasing the ticket. Staff pointed to the clearly displayed R rating and advisory notices regarding language. He insisted theaters should provide edited versions automatically for sensitive audiences. The film was shown uncut nationwide. His vocabulary preferences were not included in the distribution package. 33. The film made me think about my life, and I didn't consent to that. During an independent drama in Portland, a patron complained that the movie forced him into unexpected introspection. He claimed the story about aging and regret triggered uncomfortable personal reflection and argued that theaters should warn customers about emotionally heavy themes beyond basic genre labels. Staff confirmed that the synopsis referenced personal struggle and life transitions. He requested a partial refund for mental disturbance. The movie was a mirror. He objected to seeing himself. 34. Why didn't the theater warn me that the movie would be in black and white? At a specialty screening in New York, a viewer expressed frustration that a critically acclaimed black and white film lacked color. Despite promotional materials clearly featuring monochrome imagery, he argued that modern films should default to full color unless explicitly announced at the ticket counter verbally. Staff confirmed the stylistic choice was central to the film's identity. He insisted the absence of color felt unfinished. The film was complete. His expectations were not. 35. The movie didn't match my personal interpretation of the trailer. At a multiplex in Phoenix, a customer demanded a refund because the psychological thriller did not unfold according to his predicted plot theory formed after watching the trailer multiple times. He claimed the marketing misled him because the film didn't follow the story he assumed. Staff clarified that trailers are previews, not contractual outlines. The narrative proceeded as written. His imagination wrote a different version. The theater did not screen that one. 36. The movie gave me anxiety, and I expect compensation. At a downtown cinema in Boston, a viewer demanded financial compensation after watching a psychological thriller that depicted intense suspense and claustrophobic scenes. He claimed the tension triggered anxiety symptoms and insisted the theater should be liable for unexpected emotional distress. Staff pointed out the film was rated and marketed as a high-intensity thriller with clear warnings. He argued that the theater should have provided relaxation disclaimers before the screening began. The ticket covered entertainment. It did not include emotional insurance coverage. 37. The theater should apologize publicly for offending my personal beliefs. In a suburban Texas multiplex, a patron insisted management issue a public apology because a satirical comedy mocked ideas he personally supported. He argued that by screening the film, the theater was endorsing the message. Staff clarified that cinemas distribute films produced by studios and do not edit content based on individual viewpoints. He demanded signage clarifying ideological neutrality. The screen displayed fiction. He interpreted endorsement. 38. The jump scare caused me to spill my drink, and that's your responsibility. At a Friday night horror screening in Orlando, a customer approached concessions demanding reimbursement for a large soda he dropped during a sudden jump scare. He argued the film's sound spike caused involuntary movement, and therefore the theater should replace his drink. Staff explained that jump scares are a known element of the horror genre, and that spilled beverages are not covered under ticket policy. He insisted the volume be reduced for future screenings. The monster appeared as advertised. The soda did not survive. 39. I Googled the ending, and now I want a refund. At a cinema in Chicago, a patron admitted he looked up the film's ending halfway through because he couldn't wait. After discovering a major plot twist online, he claimed the experience was ruined and demanded his money back. Staff reminded him that external spoilers are beyond theater control. He argued that Wi-Fi access inside the building contributed indirectly to his decision. The internet provided information. The theater provided the film. Curiosity made the choice. 40. The movie didn't improve my mood, and that's false advertising. At a weekend matinee in Los Angeles, a viewer filed a complaint stating that a feel-good romantic comedy failed to make him feel happier by the time credits rolled. He cited promotional phrases like uplifting and heartwarming and argued they implied a guaranteed emotional outcome. Staff explained that reactions vary by individual and that marketing language describes tone, not measurable results. He left a one-star review claiming emotional underperformance. The story followed its script. His serotonin levels did not. 41. The theater should refund me because the villain won. At a packed premiere in New York City, a man demanded a full refund after a crime thriller ended with the antagonist escaping justice. He argued that films should promote moral clarity and that allowing a villain to win created ethical discomfort. Staff explained that artistic storytelling does not guarantee conventional justice. He insisted theaters should label movies where good does not prevail to protect audience expectations. The screenplay followed its intended arc. Moral balance was not included in the refund policy. 42. I'm filing a lawsuit because the plot twist made me feel betrayed. In a suburban California multiplex, a patron threatened legal action after a psychological drama revealed a major twist contradicting earlier assumptions. He claimed the twist constituted narrative deception and emotional manipulation. Staff calmly explained that suspense and misdirection are common storytelling tools. He requested documentation proving the theater had not altered the film. The projector ran the studio's official cut. Surprise was part of the design. Betrayal was part of the experience. 43. The theater should ban sequels I personally dislike. At a Chicago screening of a long-running franchise, a customer argued that continued sequels were excessive and that theaters should refuse to screen further installments. He claimed audiences deserved protection from creative repetition. Management explained that box office demand determines programming, not individual fatigue. He threatened to organize a boycott unless the franchise was removed from the schedule. The next showing sold out. Consumer preference remained larger than his protest. 44. I deserve a refund because the film challenged my worldview. In a Seattle art house cinema, a patron approached the manager after a politically charged drama, stating that the film confronted his beliefs too aggressively. He argued that entertainment venues should remain neutral and avoid presenting perspectives he found uncomfortable. Staff clarified that theaters showcase a wide range of viewpoints and that audience members choose what to attend. He suggested content should be pre-filtered to match local ideological comfort. The film was optional. Attendance was voluntary. Discomfort was not a defect. 45. The theater owes me compensation for not delivering the exact experience I imagined. At a luxury multiplex in Miami, a customer demanded reimbursement after claiming the overall atmosphere of a blockbuster premiere did not match the excitement level in his head. He described expectations of cheering crowds, immersive ambiance, and heightened energy. Instead, the audience behaved normally. He argued that marketing created a mental image the theater failed to fulfill. Staff confirmed that ticket purchase grants access to a screening, not a customized emotional event. The movie played on time. Reality declined to follow his storyboard. 46. The theater should edit out scenes I personally disagree with. At a major multiplex in Los Angeles, a customer requested management cut several scenes from a political satire because he found them personally unacceptable. He argued that since digital projection allows file transfers, the theater should simply remove objectionable segments before future showings. Staff explained that cinemas are legally required to screen licensed films in their original, studio-approved form. He insisted technology makes customization easy, and that customer satisfaction should override contracts. Distribution law did not bend. The projector ran the full cut. His editorial authority did not extend past the ticket counter. 47. The movie should have improved my relationship. In a suburban Chicago theater, a couple attended a romantic drama marketed as heartfelt and emotional. After the credits rolled, one partner approached the manager stating the film failed to spark meaningful communication between them. He claimed the promotional material implied relationship insight and therefore the theater indirectly promised personal growth. Staff clarified that films can inspire reflection but do not function as counseling services. The story explored fictional characters. It did not repair real arguments waiting in the parking lot. 48. The theater should guarantee I don't feel bored. At a late-night screening in Phoenix, a patron complained that the slow pacing of an art house drama left him uninterested for nearly 20 minutes. He demanded partial reimbursement because he paid to be engaged the entire time. Staff pointed to the genre classification and reviews describing deliberate pacing and minimal dialogue. He argued that theaters should pre-screen films for universal entertainment value before offering them publicly. The runtime was listed. The style was known. Attention spans were not guaranteed. 49. The theater should warn me if I won't like the film. In New Jersey, a customer approached the front desk after a sci-fi epic and insisted the theater should have predicted his dissatisfaction before he purchased a ticket. He suggested staff ask personality questions at the box office to determine compatibility with certain genres. Management explained that trailers, ratings, and reviews already provide guidance. He insisted predictive filtering would reduce disappointment. The cinema sold access. It did not offer psychological profiling. 50. The movie didn't change my life, and I feel misled. At a premiere in San Francisco, a viewer requested a refund because a critically acclaimed drama described in reviews as life-changing did not alter his perspective or inspire immediate transformation. He argued that such language created measurable expectations and that the theater should compensate unmet personal impact. Staff explained that emotional resonance varies by individual and cannot be contractually enforced. The story unfolded exactly as written. Personal epiphanies were not included in the price of admission. Some people go to the movies to escape reality. Others go to argue with it. They bought tickets to dinosaurs and complained about dinosaurs. They chose horror and objected to fear. They arrived late, ignored warnings, skipped trailers, Googled endings, and somehow decided the building owed them closure. The screen didn't glitch. The sound system didn't fail. The popcorn machine didn't conspire. The only thing malfunctioning was expectation. Cinema is simple. You sit down, you watch the story someone else wrote, you leave. But somewhere between the ticket stub and the credits, some people decided the universe should tailor the experience personally for them. The projector plays. The audience reacts. Reality does not take notes. Like the video if you've ever sat near one of these people. Comment the wildest complaint you've ever heard in a theater. And subscribe, because as long as tickets are sold, someone will walk out convinced the movie was wrong for not reading their mind. See you in the next screening.